Have you ever wondered how commentators and analysts from traditional sports to esports go from some of the most average, everyday people to being some of the most lively and energetic, filling you with the information you need every single time about your favorite players? Well, I asked my Twitter following on what exactly their thoughts and questions were, so that way you get all the information you need and were wondering about your favorite on-air talent. So for our first question, we have a comment from my guy SBG, aka Somebody's Gun, who is also a fellow Fortnite commentator in the scene. And he says, who is your favorite non-esports commentator? And now, I personally have a couple of hosts, commentator, analysts, all on-air talent that are especially favorites. So for traditional sports, in as far as commentary goes specifically, I gotta go with Joe Davis. The man is just a beast when it comes to both MLB and NFL commentating. Play-by-play, immaculate. But as far as hosts and analysts go, I really love me some Emmanuel Acho and Max Kellerman. Both of those are just incredible at dictating the show and as well as just being incredible personality. And now on for question number 2. And this is from my guy Inno5s, who is the founder and president of Matrix Gaming, which is an organization in the Fortnite competitive scene. As he asks, how does someone in broadcasting, either for freelance or for a company, grow their personal brand? Now, this is all dependent on how exactly you want to grow your brand. Personally, I believe that I've grown to the point where I have and done a pretty decent job off of it because I've built it off of the brand of positivity and spreading that nature across everywhere I can. And no matter whether it's based on an analyst take where I don't necessarily want to be like, oh, this guy's gonna win and this guy's absolutely horrible, but bringing up bright sides of both hands. And I believe that comes from not only doing that as a personality, but also as a on-air talent, as well as pursuing that in every single interaction. Because let's be honest, if you're watering a seed and it's good seed, you're gonna produce more good seed. But as for our third question, it is from Infamous Tech Lord. When did you find your passion for casting and what made you want to pursue this career path? Now, my passion comes very, very early in my life. So I was always that young kid that was glued to the television every single time there was some kind of sports event, whether it be the World Series, MLB, NFL, Super Bowl, doesn't matter. But I always listened more so to what the commentators were saying, what the stat lines they were bringing up. Not necessarily exactly the game in and of itself, but how the people breaking down the game could just elevate it to a different level of understanding, to where you could only get that information specifically from them. And then growing up, it was kind of interesting because I was always the person in the edit menu of any kind of game, whether it be Madden or even MLB The Show, and I'm just editing the stat lines, trying to figure it out, trying to see, okay, this batting average equals that, and then this stat gets me that better boost. And it was really kind of funny growing up in this space because my parents are like, oh, why don't you just play the game? And I'm just like, I don't know, I want to figure everything out. I want to get all the stat lines down to this one particular part so that way I can make this one particular play I want to make in game, and it just makes it that much more exciting. So that's where the original passion comes from. And then being able to get opportunities in this space, specifically from people like Monster D-Face, Life with Panda, in the Fortnite community in general, has honestly just been such a blessing in that. And hey, we're only just getting started in the broadcasting and commentating space. And for question number 4, this is getting a little bit spicy here because this one's from Komodo Alex. And he says, if you could expand your casting to a different esport, which one would you cast? Now, I personally, for those of you that do not know, cast specifically and only Fortnite. Now, Fortnite has drawn to me as the realistically major game that I've absolutely fallen in love with, not only from the variety standpoint that nothing's ever specifically consistent. It is at the same one core game, but there's so many different elements that keep you fully intact that it's just like a gift that keeps on giving. And that is why it is my favorite esport to cast and the only one I cast. But I honestly don't have any other plans or aspirations to cast any other esports. If anything, it'd be going into traditional things like baseball, football, etc. And if there had to be an esport I pick, it would probably be Rocket League, because I absolutely love Epic Games and how well they've developed their company status time and time again, that I would probably stay within the Epic Games pipeline with Rocket League, and it's honestly a genuinely fun esport to watch. And here for question number 5, this is from my guy Aaron Wise, saying, how many hours per week do you spend commentating games for practice? Now, I would say it's not specifically in the realm of just casting over blank clean feeds to try and practice those moments. I'd say it's more so in the information-based status and more so watching and taking in, because that's a lot of what broadcasting in itself is. It's taking a lot more in, because you can't learn if you're just spewing out. And this quote sticks in my head because I've seen it many times throughout the days, is when you're speaking, you already have that knowledge to speak. But when you want to learn, you have to take in. You can't be speaking and learning at the same time. You have to be a sponge. So I'd say it's probably around 10 hours, 15 hours a week regarding all that information. Now for question number 6. This is probably the best question out of the entire thread, and it comes from 6F Sir Dion, saying, what were the most important steps in getting you where you are now as a caster? So this is a very in-depth one, but it's a very important one. And I would say it's putting in those hours. And I know it seems cliche to say, oh, all you need is time. But it's true. Time is the recipe for success. I would not be here today if it weren't for the amount of hours that I put in, not only watching gameplay, practicing gameplay, but also messing up a lot along the way. And whether that be through my own practice or specifically on shows, which, disclaimer out there, you don't want to be messing up specifically on shows, but sometimes that's what you have to do to learn, to make sure that your next broadcast, your next show is the best one yet. And you wouldn't be improving, you wouldn't be human if you wouldn't make a couple mistakes here and there. And the time and effort put into that of watching the gameplay and making sure that, even going back to last questions of Aaron saying, well, how many hours do you put in a week? It's all about the effort put in those hours, because you can scream your head off all day that you want or practice voice vocals all day that you want. But if you miss the little things, you're going to skip past them. It's the same thing that you can't build a firm foundation on sand. You have to do it on solid rock. If you do it on sand, it's going to crumble. And it's the same thing for not only broadcasting, but everything in life. You have to make sure that you're putting the quality hours in. And especially when I'm looking on to, let's say, a clean feed of a broadcast, and I want to develop, all right, what am I going to say in this moment for future reference when I'm on air, when the moment is live and I have no other ways to say it except for that moment, and it is completely pasted in. There's no whiteout for what I say. And therefore, when I'm building that entire story that is supposed to envelop you as the same way that a movie does with the backtrack of the music, let's say when it's a car chase and it's going dramatic, and then it goes all of a sudden to somber as soon as there's a high-speed car crash in the movie where it's deep bet. That is exactly what my job is into. The advice that has stuck with me all throughout that journey from my guy Shia Wager: your voice is the backtrack to what is happening on screen. So my voice needs to mimic that to make the greatest of the moments, so that way the viewer can once again remember it forever. So that'll be it for these questions from me on this end. But if you have any further questions, make sure you drop them down in the comments. And if you liked the video, drop a like down below, as well as click that big juicy red subscribe button, as we'll be dropping this kind of content and more throughout the entirety of the year. And if you would like to hear any of my commentating or analyst stats, make sure you drop down to more videos as well as the shorts for specifically commentating as well.